it's me. It's just me today. Lauren is at her dad's house. Today I wanted to do a video or something that is like important to me, and I feel like it'll bring awareness to a lot of other females out here that's going through the same thing. I know we normally do, fun little challenges and everything on this page, and like to keep it, cute and fun, but I felt like this was an important topic to talk about since I'm going through it and a lot of other females are going through it. So today we're gonna talk about an issue that I've been going through, uterine fibroids. Okay, I didn't know I had a fibroid until I was pregnant with Lauren, and I was just, rubbing on my stomach, and I would feel this lump on my left side of my abdomen, and I at first thought it was maybe her foot or something pushing on it, pushing out, and that was the bump from her pushing. But after a while I noticed that the bump wasn't going anywhere. It was in that same spot, wasn't moving. So I was like, well, maybe it's not her, I don't know what it is. So when I went for my ultrasound, they did an ultrasound, and that's when they told me I had a fibroid. And at the time, I did not know what a fibroid was at all. I was clueless about a fibroid. But they said it was fine, it wasn't causing any issues or anything with the pregnancy or whatever. So they just, kind of just left it alone. I went through the rest of my pregnancy. Lauren ended up coming 6 weeks early though. She ended up being delivered 6 weeks early, and I did read that having fibroids can cause you to have preterm labor, and so I don't know if that had anything to do with her coming early or not, but she did. So fast forward, it wasn't giving me any issues until about a year and a half later. I started having like this abnormal bleeding, heavy bleeding. It would just come out of nowhere, and then I would like bleed for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I discussed this with my doctor, and he suggested I have this procedure done. It's called a myectomy, where he was going to attempt to go in and remove the fibroid. However, after the procedure, he informed me that he wasn't able to remove the fibroid because it was embedded in the muscle of my uterus. So the only thing he can do is shave it down, make it smaller, shave it down. So that's what he did. So after that, he started me on a birth control pill that was supposed to suppress my cycles, kind of help control the bleed and all of that. And it had an option where you can take just the active pills instead of the placebo pills, so you wouldn't have a period at all. And I chose that option because I just didn't want to have to deal with, all of that. So that's what I did. And then I was fine for a little while, until I would have issues here and there, but it was my fault, I felt like, because I would like sometimes forget to take my birth control pill, or I wasn't taking it every day at the same time like they suggest that you do. So I felt like, okay, that was my problem. But recently I started having these issues where I would just like start again just bleeding, just randomly bleeding, no matter where you at, it comes, I don't care. And it would go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then I would have like this cramping and everything. So when my doctor saw me at my last appointment, I told him about it, and he suggested that we do another ultrasound, because they haven't like done an ultrasound since like before my procedure, and my procedure was back in 2016. This is now 2022. So they didn't check on it or anything within those years. So he was like, well, let's just do an ultrasound. Let's set you up for ultrasound so we can check and see, what's going on with the fibroid, because it can grow, it can get bigger, So we set the appointment for me to have ultrasound done. So I went back that following week to have the ultrasound done. And then so the ultrasound tech, she was just doing the ultrasound, and she was just randomly talking to me. Then she was just like, oh, do you have any kids? And I was like, yeah, I have one. She was like, did you plan on having any more kids? Like, the question she was asking, like, it kind of felt like she was leading up to like, I don't know, you might not be able to have any more. I'm just curious, do you have any? Do you plan on having any more? So I told her, yeah, I have one. I was like, at this moment, I wasn't planning on having any more. I said, however, if I was content with my one, if that was, all that I can have. So she's just like, okay. And then she's like counting and counting. She's like, do you have a family history of fibroids? And I was like, no. I was like, not that I know of, unless it's on my father's side, because my mom, my grandmother, none of them I've ever heard them talking about they had fibroids before. So I was like, no, not that I know of, unless it's on my dad's side. So she was like, okay. And she was like, well, I'm counting. And she was like, it looks like you have like 9 fibroids. And I was like in shock, because I went from having 1 to now having 9 fibroids. And so I was like, okay. She was like, you have one really big one on the right side. She was like, all of them aren't big, some of them are small, but the biggest one is right here on the right side. She was like, do you have any pain or cramping or anything on that side a lot? I was like, no, not really. She was like, okay. She was like, well, yeah. She was like, I count 9 fibroids. She was like, so yeah, I'm gonna give the report to your doctor, and then he'll call you back and talk to you about it or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I left, and on my way home, like, I just broke down crying, because for one, I always said, I only want one child. I don't want any more kids. I always said that to everybody. I always said that. But I still had this like 5% maybe in the back of my head, like, I might, consider having another one. And then Lauren always asking me, I want a sister, or whatever. So she's already has a brother with her dad and his fiance. So she has a sibling over there, but she wants a sister. And so I always had this like 5% in the back of my head, like, maybe, if I meet the right guy and we get married, maybe I'll, consider having her a sibling over here. So I did consider it. It was in the back of my head. So the fact that I, was told that I had 9 fibroids, and I know that with having issues with fibroids, it can lead to a hysterectomy, having your uterus removed. And that's all I could think of when I was told that. I was like thinking, when I was leaving the doctor's appointment, I was like, oh, I know when he called me, he's gonna probably be like, the only option is a hysterectomy. So I was like so overwhelmed. I'm crying, because I was like, see, you have to be careful what you say, what you speak, because I've always said, oh, I just want one, I don't want no more. And now I might be stuck in what I said. Like, I may not be able to have any more but that one. And then another issue was the fact that I felt like if I had to have a hysterectomy, I would be having my uterus removed and a part of my womanhood stripped from me. And so that was another thing that kind of like made me sad, or feel bad about the whole situation, because I was like, I don't know, I just felt like I would be less of a woman if I didn't have my uterus, if I didn't have the option of having another child if I wanted to. And so, yeah, I had to sit in that. And on my ride home from work, I was crying. I texted my mom, I texted my best friend, I texted my boyfriend, and I told all of them. And it was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear this. So like, it was making me cry even more. And everyone was like, you want to talk about it? And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't, because like, when I have like issues like that or things that happen, like, talking about it in the moment only upsets me more and makes me cry more. Like, just let me get through this on my own. Let me breathe and think about it, and then I can talk about the situation and be okay without crying. So yeah, I went home and I showered. I couldn't sleep. Because all I could think of is, oh my God, like, I'm probably gonna have to have a hysterectomy. And that's not the only option. I'm not saying that's the only option, because like I said, when I had the one, he wanted to do the myomectomy, so because they can go in and remove fibroids, you know, if they're able to. And so that wasn't the only option. But me knowing that I had 9, I'm like, 9, that's a lot. That is a lot. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to, you know. So once my doctor called me, he was like, okay, so I got the report from your ultrasound and you have 9 fibroids, which I already knew because the ultrasound tech told me. And he was like, are you having any complications now? Like, are you having really bad cramps, really bad bleeding? Like, is it causing you any issues right now? And I said, no. I said, it's stopped. It got better. Like, I haven't been having any issues. I said, as long as I take my birth control every day, you know, at the same time or whatever, I don't have any issues. And he was like, okay, well, since you're not having any issues right now, let's just keep an eye on it, and then we'll go from there. So I was like, okay. And we hung up. But after we hung up, I kind of felt like I probably should have asked more questions. I should have asked, like, what are the options if I do start having complications again? What would you suggest for me? Is there a possibility for me to ever have another child if I chose to? You know, I don't know. I just, after the fact, I thought of all these questions, and then I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I was just like overwhelmed at that point. But yeah, so that's where we stand now. Like, I still have these 9 fibroids. And another thing with having fibroids, it makes your abdomen look like you're pregnant. And like, I get people asking me all the time, like, oh, are you expecting? Are you having a baby? And I have to say, no, I'm not. Sometimes I'll just be like, no, I'm just fat and laugh it off. Or sometimes I'll be like, no, I'm not. Like, if it's a female or whatever, or you know, because it's common, but a lot of people don't know about it. So I'll be like, oh, no, I'm not pregnant. I just have fibroids, uterine fibroids. So it makes my stomach look like this. And then some females will be like, oh, yeah, I know. I went through that too. I dealt with that too. Or, you know, or they'll kind of know, understand what fibroids is or something or whatever. So, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to have to keep, you know, explaining to people, no, not pregnant. My stomach is just big because I have uterine fibroids. So, and my one of my good friends was telling me about her going through that same issue, and then her having a hysterectomy. And she was like, well, if you have a hysterectomy, I'm pretty sure your stomach could go down real flat. And I'm like, yeah, but at this point, I'm not there. I don't want to go through any surgeries. I don't want to have my uterus removed. Like, right now I just don't want to have to go through any of that right now. But then again, I am like kind of tired of like explaining to people that no, I'm not pregnant. I know it looks like it, but I'm not pregnant. And then have to know, want to wear cute clothes and can't because my stomach looks up while I'm trying to wear the cute outfit. So I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I should like share my story because a lot of people go through this issue and they don't know much about it. Like me, when I first found out I had no clue what a fibroid was. I had to do my research and find out, what it was, what was my options, how can it affect my body, and all of that. So I had to do my own research, and I feel like a lot of females should be aware of it, and because it really does affect a lot of females, especially in our community, the African American community. We deal with it more than any other race, and we don't know, until we start having complications like I did. So, and I know some people may have them and don't even get to have a chance to have, a baby because, it affects their chances of conceiving or carrying a baby long term. So I feel like it's important that we be aware of our body, that we, talk to our doctors, ask questions, just know what's going on with our bodies, because like it's very, I don't know, it's life changing. Because what if I was strongly considering having another baby, and then now that is a possibility that I can't have one, like I probably will be even more down. But I'm just blessed to be able to have been able to have one. She is my world. I love her so much. She keeps me on my toes, and so God bless me with one, and I'm blessed to have her. I could have went the other way around, and I could have been not able to have any, and I know that would be very devastating because I knew I wanted for sure to have at least one. So I won't be too sad because I was blessed with one. But yeah, we don't know what the outcome is. I don't know what's the next step. We just, like my doctor said, I'm just gonna monitor it and go from there. But I will keep you guys updated if anything changes, or if I have to go through surgery or anything like that. I will let you guys know. But yeah, I hope this video is informative. I hope that it pushes females, to be more aware of their body, to do their research when anything goes on with their body, ask questions, ask their doctors questions and everything. But yeah, I really hope that this video is informative and help other females and that's going through the same thing that I'm going through. So yeah, that's my story. I will keep you guys updated. Thank you for listening. Bye.